33% of Philadelphia adults
lack basic literacy skills.
That means about
370,000 Philadelphians will struggle to read this sentence.
23% of Philadelphians live in poverty. That is double the national average.
74% of residents with children said they heard gunshots over the past year.
And illegal garbage dumping costs Philadelphia more than $8 million per year.
But if there's one thing we know from our history, it's that these things are all fixable. Just consider.
Public art, Philadelphia has more of it than any other city.
The COVID-19 vaccine.
Our scientists invented it.
Philadelphians feel this city
It's still a good place to live.
A good place to live.
The city is still a good place to live.
And our best days are ahead.
What will it take to get us there? All of us.
I am more than a resident of Philadelphia.
I am its citizen.
and I dedicate myself
To the betterment of my home.
I will stand while others sit.
I will stand while others sit.
I will speak when there is silence.
I will read.
I will act.
I will vote.
I will challenge authority and challenge myself.
I will grow and learn.
I will seek out inspiration.
And I will become an inspiration to others.
I stand for Philadelphia.
It is my home.
And I am its citizen.
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 All right. Hello. Hey there.
Larry is really disturbed by how close we are when we have to use the same microphone, so I'm going to stand really close to him.
Not that I'm a germphobe or anything. Hi, everyone. Hi, fellow citizens. Brothers, sisters, comrades. I'm Larry Platt from the Philadelphia Citizen.
I'm Roxanne Patel Shapalavi, also from the Philadelphia Citizen.
And
I love it. I always...
and as of 9 days ago, of Philadelphia Magazine as well. So welcome to Ideas We Should Scale, Whiskey Fest. It's the perfect combination, right? We'll solve some civic problems, and then we'll get drunk as hell. That is so Philly. So just a couple of notes. I hope that all of you join us tomorrow at our Ideas We Should Steal Festival presented by Comcast. We've got an incredible lineup of civic innovators, bold-faced names, plus grassroots actors who are making change in cities across the nation, across the globe, and we want to shamelessly steal from them to make Philadelphia all it could be. And this is the 8th year in a row we've done this. We've stolen some great ideas. The gun violence intervention program that the city uses now, thanks to the Coalition to Save Lives, started at Ideas We Should Steal Festival in 2019 when we brought David Muhammad here and Pedro Ramos. Listen to that, brought David Muhammad in to do a survey of Philadelphia. We partnered with RIP Medical Debt, in which you all ponied up, I want to say $85,000, and RIP Medical Debt, it's this amazing story, right? They buy up hospital debt at 10 cents on the dollar and forgives it for indigent Philadelphians. So we cured $8.5 million of indigent Philadelphia's hospital debt. That is the kind of change that Philadelphia needs. I just want to say, before I turn it over to Roxanne, who really runs everything, I want to give a shout out. A former member of City Council complained to me that it sounds like I'm always lecturing City Council members. And so I want to, Councilman Jeffrey Young is here, Councilmember Nick O'Rourke is here, Councilwoman Nina Ahmad is here. Let's hear a round of applause for these. These public servants have, as I've said to Council President Johnson, I whine because I care, and we're all in this together. I have immense respect. The citizen has immense respect for anyone who, like Teddy Roosevelt used to say, thrusts themselves into the arena. So the last thing I just want to address is the whole Philly Mag thing. The idea here is to further create an army of citizens who take back Philadelphia from the usual suspects, from the 300 or so folks who have gotten us to where we are, which is a city that's good but not yet great, and we're in the business of great. And I want to say we model that in this staff. So the citizen, and now, amazingly, and you'll see it when you go upstairs, in the Philly Mag staff, we have created a culture of yes. Everyone begins at yes. It is the most inspiring thing I've ever seen. If our city does that, we're going to be the most world-class city like we once were. So with that, and let me also, I know you're going to say something about her, but I just want to say that the person in Philadelphia, there's a number of people on the Philly Mag staff and the citizen staff that are yesers, including Jessica Blatt Press, who really put this all together. Like, just incredible. And Ralph Thorne, and and Corey Moscow, and so forth. But there's someone else here, Michelle Heistand from the Night Shyamalan Foundation. This is a person who every time you go to her, I mean, it's actually like kind of pathological. Every time you go to her, the answer is yes. What can I do? How can I help? It is the most inspiring thing, and I want to thank you, Michelle, because this wouldn't have happened without you. And one other person, Richard Binswanger, has been bothering the shit out of me for 7 years to do this event. He came to me after, because he was like, you do ideas we should steal, but there are great ideas here that need fuel. What about doing that? And so we are here because Binswanger's a pain in the ass. And with that, I'll hand it over to Roxanne.
So Larry told you all about ideas we should steal, which you guys will all experience tomorrow for yourselves. This is the first time, this is our inaugural Ideas We Should Scale event. So the way this works, we've been wanting to do this for a long time, and thanks to Michelle and Richard and Claire Robertson-Kraft and Kimberly McGlon, and Michael Pearson, who were our judges for this incredible event, we were able to pull it off this year. So this is how it worked, really briefly. We put out a call for small businesses, B Corps, and benefit corporations to submit their ideas, short videos of how they could scale their solutions to problems in Philadelphia. We got dozens of submissions, almost all of which had me in tears. And literally, I was like filling out the form to say who I liked, and I was like crying. Our judges came together and picked 3 presenters who you're going to hear from today. Jess wanted me to be sure to tell you, this is not a competition. So we are not Shark Tank. We are not, this is not going to be gladiator style duking it out. Although we'll keep that in mind for next year. We hope that everybody here is able to get the support they need to scale. So for that, I want to make sure that we thank all the funders who are in the room, everybody here who has come ready to support these organizations. So we were able to pull this off, as Larry said, because of the M. Night Shyamalan Foundation, Impact Ed, and Fitler Club, who helped to bring this together. Okay, so let me tell you who the judges are. I named them, but Michelle Heistand, Executive Director of the M. Night Shyamalan Foundation, who you're going to hear from shortly. Claire Robertson-Kraft is the founder and Executive Director of Impact Ed at the University of Pennsylvania. Kimberly McGlon is an author, entrepreneur, and Vice President of Social Impact at Fitler Club. Michael Pearson is President and CEO of Public Health Management Corporation. And Richard Binswanger, the aforementioned pain in the ass, is a partner at Localist. And a special thank to Michelle, Claire, and Kimberly also for serving as coaches to the presenters. We wanted to make sure that everybody kind of had the support they needed to be able to put on a good show for you. Afterwards, I'm going to read Larry's part. Afterwards, you all have the opportunity to go upstairs to Whiskey Fest, which is happening right now. So, let's talk fast. And then we hope to see you tomorrow at the 8th Annual Ideas We Should Steal Festival. at Comcast NBCUniversal. If you have not registered for that, Ralph is going to be thrilled when I say talk to Ralph at the front, and she can register you. So now it is my pleasure to introduce the first part of the program. We are going to hear from Dr. Bhavna Shyamalan, co-founder of the M. Night Shyamalan Foundation, and Michelle Heistand, who will talk about the work that they do and what it means to really scale impact.
Hey guys.
Hi. How are you guys? It should already be, ready to rock? Yeah, all right. Hello. Live. Hi guys, we're so excited to be here and we're so excited to see you guys. We thought we'd start by telling you a little bit about the foundation and what we do because it's related to the nonprofit, I think all nonprofit ideas that you will hear tonight. So Bob, why don't we start by telling these lovely folks what our foundation does and how we decide who we work with.
Okay, so first, Michelle is the ED of our foundation, so I just want to tell you that. Nothing happens without her. Our foundation, basically, when we began the foundation, which was in 2001, we did what I call feel-good philanthropy, which is we found causes that felt good, and we invested in them, and then kept moving. What we realized after a few years was that we were doing stuff, but we weren't really moving the needle in any kind of significant way. Cut to a few years later, we learn as we grow, and we happen to do a few grants that ended up having great impact. And we found our special sauce by doing that and realized that how we really make impactful change is by investing in leaders. So that's what we do now. What was the second part of your question?
I don't know. How do we choose and vet the leaders that we work with?
Okay, so vetting is really hard. I mean, the choosing is very hard, but really fun. And actually, Michelle does a lot of the beginning part of the choosing. So Michelle, you want to talk a little bit about that, or?
Yeah, so we do a lot of Googling, right? Or if anyone knows folks we should look at, I would love to talk to you after because we do a lot of looking for people. And then we have a lot of Zoom calls and we talk to them and we look at their financials and we read their annual reports and then we go visit them. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, so we find this part really critical for the work that we do. Once we've gone through the rounds of looking at all the, doing all the due diligence, doing the interviewing, and we find some that we think are potentials that fit our kind of model, we actually visit. And we do global grants as well as domestic here in Philly, and we're starting to expand that as well. We visit every program, and it's almost never what we expect. So that kind of tells us why it's so important, because when we're on the ground, we get a sense of the challenge that these communities are facing. We get a sense of how the leader interacts with the community. We get to interview all the stakeholders, the staff, the recipients, and we really just get a full sense of what is going on. And so that's a really critical part. And then once we find a leader, and really what our leaders are focused on is bringing their grassroots leaders, and they bring community out of their communities out of poverty and oppression. And once we find them, we stick with them for a few years. And the very, very critical part of what we do is we don't prescribe. And what I mean by that is that our grants are unrestricted, right? A lot of people, thank you. There are a lot of orgs in here. Yeah, I always find it interesting because there are a lot of people, especially the people on the funding end or people who donate money, they're always like, oh, we only want it to go to X. And I get that. I get that too. There's reasons why they do that. And of course, you want to be careful. But people are doing the work, and we kind of believe that it's really important for people to also eat, the people that are doing the work to eat. So we need capital. We need human capital to do the work, and we also believe that once we've vetted the leaders, that they are the experts in what they do. So our leaders are working in communities, like I said, they might be global, it might be domestic, but whatever community they're working in, they're the ones that are engaged every single day in that community. So they know their communities, they know these are often poverty and oppression is an entrenched system. They're entrenched in systems of culture, of tradition, of belief systems, and it all kind of works together. And unless you really know all the parts and how they interact, any change you try to make is going to fail. So you have to really be able to understand that. And coming from the outside, as much as research as we try to do, we can't know that, right? So if we've really vetted well, and we believe we have, then we believe we need to trust our leaders. So it's trust-based philanthropy, it's unrestricted grants, we don't prescribe, and then we also invest over several years. So, we really believe in scaling and supporting our leaders. We start with them early when their organizations are fairly nascent, and then we support them over years. And we've seen incredible growth, incredible change, incredible impact. So that's what we do.
Yeah. So when Bhavna says leaders, we really mean founders. Do we have founders in the room? I feel like we have a lot of founders in the room, right? So Bob, maybe tell them why leaders? Why do we focus on founders, what we call leaders, but why that focus on founders?
Yeah. So the leaders we look for several things, and I'll go to the why in a minute. But what we look for, one, we look for founders of kind of young organizations that are already showing impact, right? They're already starting to move the needle, and then we also look for certain characteristics of the founders. So they're really embedded in the community. That's something that I already described to you. But they also have grit, passion, and perseverance. They have incredible resilience. They have a mindset of anything is possible, so they go after what it is that they're the change they're hoping to make. And obstacles are just something they have to get around. And when something doesn't go the way they planned, it's something to learn from. And they see their community that they're working with, and this is a very important aspect of our leaders. How do I describe it? They approach it with, it's agency and not aid, right? So it's empowerment and not aid. It's a sense of, it's not charity, it's social justice. So our leaders are are able to find and unlock the agency within the communities and the individuals they work with so that they can empower themselves. And we really believe that that is the thing that really breaks that cycle of poverty and, shatters the kind of oppression that they're under. So that's really important to us. And why leaders? Because it's those characteristics that we feel is what makes the change. It's people that create change, not necessarily organizations. The other part of that is that, what was the other part of the question? Sorry. So I haven't slept for many days. I'm very tired.
I think you nailed it.
Okay, all right.
I think you covered it. I think we're good.
Oh, the other thing, yes, sorry. The other thing that I remembered, so Adam Grant wrote this book, Hidden Potential, and in it he talked about a study where, and it was to support the idea that it isn't intelligence that actually creates success, it's character, right? And so that's what we look for. We look for leaders with character. And this was a study with a West African community. And it was about 1,500 people, and they got trained. There were 3 groups. There was a control group with no training. There was a group with skills training, like accounting and marketing. And then there was another group that went through character training, which was discipline and initiative. And the discipline and initiative group had a 3 times impact in terms of their growth and and how much they were able to grow. So it's really character that drives. It's the human capacity that drives change.
I love that. Thanks. So Bobna talked about the fact that we're often working with organizations that are newer and that we're really hoping to help scale. Can you talk about, we're at ideas we should scale. So that's kind of why this was a perfect fit for us, because we talk a lot about scaling. Talk about why we think scaling is so important. Why do we focus on kind of supporting newer organizations, or maybe give an example or two of some orgs we've worked with that have scaled, who maybe are here. Ray's here.
Is Ray here? So I mean, if you find a good organization and you find a leader that is doing great work, why not? Like, it's hard. It's hard work. It's really hard to find people that are completely dedicated to doing the work. It's a tough job, right? And you're fighting a lot of pushback and storms coming your way. So it's tiring work, but the leaders that we work with and the founders that are here, you have this passion and this drive and you're going for it. And so to be that support that can help you grow and help you scale, like I can't do it. If I could do it, I would do it. I can't do it. But this work needs to be done. So why not support the people that can do it and that are doing it? So that's the thing. And I'll give you a couple of examples. And one of our examples is here. Ray, you can. So he started 12. He's the founder of 12 Plus, and you should really look them up. They do amazing work. They're having incredible impact. Yeah. So when we try to support our organizations to scale, we either go wide or deep. So Ray is an example, probably of both, but I'm thinking in terms of wide, right? So when we first met Ray, actually, I think when I first met you, maybe when you were in that competition thingy. So you might have been maybe in one school or two. And then when we first took him on as one of our founders, he was in 3 different schools. And now Ray, how many? 15 schools. Yeah. They've expanded to Camden. They're making huge difference. Their data is unbelievable. So definitely look up Ray. The other example is like to go deep. So some of our leaders are deeply invested in the community and they just go deeper and deeper. So one example was, way in the beginning, we invested in this organization called the Samburu Project. It was in Samburu, Kenya. And their whole purpose at that time was to dig 25 wells to get water for the community, because the community often didn't have access to water. The women, even while they're pregnant, had to walk like 6 hours a day to get water. They had to carry the heavy water. Some were getting miscarriages. It was really a very, very difficult situation. Kids weren't able to go to school because they had to be with their moms and all of that. So they dug 25 wells. And we actually came across them when they had already dug the wells, but now they said, okay, now we have wells, so why don't we do a irrigation farming system, and then we get the women to work there. And this was a pastoral type of community. They were nomadic, but they dug the wells, they grew the crops, and now they had food diversity, food security. And they started to build schools, and the kids were going to schools. The women that were working on the farms, they employed their husbands, and so they created jobs. It was incredible. So this was an example of going deep. So we try to scale in both ways.
I love that. Yeah. So last question, and then we're going to get into the folks that we're here to see. We have a lot of funders in the room. We have a lot of nonprofits in the room. You talked about why we believe in supporting founders and why we believe in unrestricted funding. So why should folks in the room get involved, right? Like, we have what we support, which is grassroots organizations that are working to alleviate poverty. You'll see different nonprofits tonight that may or may not align with that. And funders in the room, you all have your own priorities that you look for, right? But why should folks in the room get involved in this kind of work? Put on your psychologist hat. I want to hear that.
Well, a lot of you already do, so I'd definitely be really interested in hearing your why. But this is a question that I've been sort of mulling over for a long time because I always think, why don't more people get involved? And for me, and I could just only speak personally for me and hope that it resonates with you. One is because we can, and I'll talk more about that. The other is because people matter. And the third is because what else matters? So the we can is that we have leaders, we have people that are doing incredible work that have incredible impact. And sometimes they work on such entrenched issues that you don't even think that that a difference can be made, but they don't settle for that. They fight through it, and they're actually making a difference. And we get to be a part of that. And it's not we have to be a part of that. We get to be a part of that. It's a privilege and it's an opportunity. So that's the we can piece. And then the other piece is other people matter. I truly believe that everybody is born worthy of love, of freedom, and opportunity. And not everybody gets to have that. And they don't get to have that because there are systems in place that create these imbalances. And so they don't get freedom, they don't get opportunity, they don't get sometimes the love that they deserve. And we're part of those systems. So we can choose one way, we can choose to turn our back, we can choose not to be, and that's okay. Like some people are involved doing other things. But for me, I want to be part of, breaking those systems. And if I can't do it myself, I'll do it through supporting somebody who can. So that's the other piece. And then I think the final part of the what else matters is, I'm going to refer to like these three kind of philosophers. And one is Viktor Frankl, Maslow and Durkheim. So Viktor Frankl, I think, most of you know about him. He wrote The Man's Search for Meaning, and he talked about the Holocaust, the people that were in concentration camps. And he said that one thing that distinguished between people who kind of went through it well and survived emotionally intact, and those who didn't or didn't survive at all, was that they had meaning. They found some meaning in what they were doing. So meaning is crucial for resilience. And this work is the stuff that is meaningful, right? I find it very meaningful for me, and there's just great meaning and purpose in doing it. The other is Maslow. And so Maslow talks about the hierarchy of needs. You probably guys have heard about that, right? So it's like your needs go from hierarchy from you have to meet the first level to move to the next. And very basic level is the need for things like food and, sleep. And then the next level up is once you have those, then you can move to the next level up, which is need for safety. And then it goes all the way to self-actualization, which is the need to express and reach your highest potential. What a lot of people don't know is that before Maslow died, he was starting to create his highest level, which is transcendence. And transcendence is this place where you transcend the sense of I and it becomes we. And in that you find meaning and connection and something bigger. And then Durkheim talked about men and women being homo duplex. So homo duplex, that we live on two levels. The first level is just a kind of biological organism where our drives are just our instinct and then our basic desires and things like that. But then there's the level of the extraordinary. And in that level, you transcend to something greater. And there's, you transcend to something much more powerful, meaningful, purposeful, and beyond yourself. So for me, I think when we think about what are we doing here anyway, that's where I go to. And we can decide how we use our lives. And there's no wrong or right in that. I used to get on my soapbox and say, everybody has to do this. And I don't really believe that anymore. But I just, I feel there's so much here that we can do. And really, honestly, when we find meaning, when we find purpose, we have resilience, we have greater connection. We have a North Star, life makes more sense, and it just feels coherent, and that's my why. So,
can you tell she's a psychologist? What the heck?
I think we have time for a couple of questions. I'm gonna ask you questions until Jess tells me not to, or have you ask questions. Anybody have any questions? I'm gonna come back.
Okay. I'm going to ask you the one I asked her while you're speaking. I love the idea of investing in leaders. What happens when there's a really great idea or a really great sort of concept and the leadership isn't there to carry it forward? So I think too many things get kind of lost, like really good solutions get lost when they're not effectively led.
We wouldn't support that. I mean, no, but really, like, the world is full of good ideas, right? Like, ideas, I bet right now somebody in the audience has 52 ideas, right? Like, there are ideas all the time. Ideas are cheap. It's about executing on the ideas, and for us in particular, being able to demonstrate impact, because we see so many nice ideas, and no one's ever going to argue, like, you shouldn't, I don't even want to use an example, but no one's ever going to argue like, oh, you shouldn't do this to help people. But if you can, at the end of it, demonstrate impact and say, oh, it's moving the needle and it's changing the outcomes, it's a good idea. Cool. Right? I mean, I don't know if you would answer that differently.
Yeah, I think if you're asking for our organization, that's our answer, because we're very leader focused. So for us, the leader is the first thing. And that's why we don't have that break with the idea and there's the idea and not the leader, because the leader is primary. The leader is who executes. So, but there may be something in a different organization, and that's really not our model. But if there is a good idea, I mean, I hope there's a leader somewhere who would take up the helm.
Okay, yeah. Jess has told me we have one more question, and this lady here is going to ask it.
Hi, my name is Salima McNeil. I'm the founder of Oshun Family Center, and I really like the fact that you all do multi-year funding opportunities. What advice would you have for both nonprofit organizations and philanthropy folks who want to give, but we do know that 1 year of giving is more harmful than helpful? So how could you encourage them for multi-year funding?
Good question.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even understand why it's not multi-year. Growth takes time. Growth takes time. It takes time to figure out things sometimes. And everything that I've ever seen, and I'm sure that you have ever seen, any idea that's a great idea didn't start there. It took a long time to get there, but you have to see the kernels of the movement, of the impact, of the shift continuing to happen. So if you have that, if you're seeing the trajectory of growth, then double down. Like, if there's no growth, that's something, but you can always assess as you go, and we do. If we always continually assessing, and we don't have like a, it's going to be 3 years or it's going to be 5 years. It's as if you continue to grow and we can be of support and be impactful to you, then we continue to support. So any good idea and any good work takes a while to get there, and it takes a while to figure out the paths as well. We're not risk adverse as a foundation, so we a lot of our, like I said, our organizations that we look at and leaders look at are early in the program, and they have some level of proof. You know, they've moved the needle a little bit, but we're not afraid, you know, because we're more excited by the potential.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, now I have two microphones. Thank you so much. So thank you for what you do for the community, and thank you for being here with us. That was terrific. Can we give them another round of applause, please? So we're going to go on. We're going to move on to the second part of the program, in which you're going to hear from these incredible organizations. I want to just first acknowledge that there are a lot of people in the room here who were people who entered who sent us videos to try to make it to these three people up here. And everybody I've run into has been so joyful and so happy to be here. I just want to give you all a big round of applause. Also, I just want to note how cool it is that we're in this space. I don't know if you noticed this on the way here. You could like see the field, and they have like the Philly special on the wall there. I think that's what that is. It's pretty cool. Anyway, so we are going to start. The first group we're going to hear from is Chris Scale and Lana Harshaw from Bike Explorers. So we're going to have you come up. I'm going to tell you how this is going to work. So you're going to see, Jess is giving me a look like you didn't actually explain how it's going to work. Here's how it's going to work. As I mentioned, everybody presented us with videos. We're going to show you the video because I was so moved by them that I really wanted everyone to see it, and you could kind of see their work in action. They're going to come up. They're going to talk for a few minutes, and then we'll go on to the next group. At the end, they're going to come up, and we'll have a few minutes of questions, right? Totally aced it. Okay, so this is Bike Explorers, and I'm going to get off the stage when the video is done. We'll see Chris Gale and Lana Harshaw. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Chris Gale, the Executive Director of the Bicycle Coalition of Greater Philadelphia. Since 1972, we've been fighting for safer streets for everybody. So we're here today to talk about an exciting new program that we have. We're calling it Bike Explorers. It is a pilot program that we've built with elementary children here at Louis Elkin School in Kensington. The kids that are at this school asked their council member to learn how to ride bikes. The council member reached out to us, asked us to partner. We said absolutely, and thus the program was born. In this pilot program, students participated in 8 sessions of hands-on instruction over 4 weeks. We know that every year only 1 in 4 kids will learn how to ride a bike nationally, and in Philadelphia, 5 kids under the age of 17 get hit by a driver every single year. Bike Explorers works to address both of these issues. We know that when kids are encouraged to ride safely together, they will ride to and from schools, they will encourage their families to ride with them, and then the families will start to say, hey, what's up with the safer streets in our neighborhood too? So then we fight for safer streets together. So who's on our team? For Bike Explorers, it's our Education Programs Director and a Site Coordinator. Our team brings expertise in biking and bike safety, community engagement, and positive youth development. We envision a Philadelphia where every kid gets to learn how to ride a bike by 4th grade. And that means that they then build the confidence and the competence to gauge the streetscape in a way that is both safe and responsible. In just over 4 weeks, 24th graders at Elkin Elementary graduated from the first ever Bike Explorers program, successfully riding both independently and in a group. We have both a capacity and a funding issue. We need an initial investment of $45,000 just to make sure that we can do more of it here at Elkin School. We need an additional $250,000 to ensure that we can meet the needs of the folks who are asking us and inviting us to come to their schools as well here in the cluster. So the $250,000 plus the $45,000 here at Elkin would ensure that we have at least 4 schools that we are supporting with bike education in Kensington and in Port Richmond. This will allow us to bring on 2 additional full-time staff members to support the administrative back end for the program. Once we are able to successfully scale to the cluster, we can bring programming district-wide and vertically expand it to include competitive cycling options for middle school and high school youth. It's working in DC. We know that because our colleagues who are there are working with public school district in Washington, DC to ensure that every kid in that district gets to learn how to ride by force. We believe that everyone should have the freedom to choose how to travel our streets and have a minimum expectation to arrive at their destination safely. By teaching our young people this lifelong skill, we can get closer to achieving that reality for our region.
Oh yeah, I hear the bike bells. Keep them ringing. So I just want to take a moment to acknowledge Chris Gale, who is not here with us tonight. He is transitioning out of the organization. I am recently appointed as the interim executive director of the Bicycle Coalition, so I'll thank you. But what an exciting time to share the work that we do here. Before I get started, it would be very important for me to recognize some of the team that's here tonight to support. If you guys can all stand up, I'm gonna embarrass you really quick. Bicycle Coalition staff. Yes, keep ringing the bells. Familiar sounds make me less nervous. My name is Lana Harshaw. I, like I said, am the interim director, executive director of the Bicycle Coalition. Really excited to share Bike Explorers, the program that we launched this year, in our advocacy efforts and education efforts to bring safe streets to Philadelphia cyclists and vulnerable road cyclists, or road users, I'm sorry. And Bike Explorers was kind of the brainchild of an extension of our BCYC, Bicycle Coalition Youth Cycling Program, that we launched this year at Louis Elkin Elementary. So a little bit about what we do. At the Bicycle Coalition, our mission is rooted in advocacy, education, and equity. We work every day to make sure that every bike ride is safe and that people of all ages feel comfortable and equipped with confidence, and that our ridership reflects the diversity and brilliance of Philadelphia. I got the PowerPoint, so bear with me. All right, one of our most exciting initiatives, and one that truly embodies our mission, is Bike Explorers. It's our elementary cycling program. This program introduces young people to the joy of riding, teaches essential safety and road skills, and gives kids something so many of us got to experience growing up, the freedom that comes when you know how to ride a bike. How many people know how to ride a bike in the room? Clap it up, clap it up. Our education and bike safety programming is confidence building, it's community building, and it's the kind of preventative, empowering programming that shifts futures. So this year we got to pilot Bike Explorers at Louis Elkin Elementary in Kensington. And the remarkable thing is that the students actually requested it. Elementary programming isn't, or wasn't, I will say, in our wheelhouse. But this year, when the kids requested it, we decided we wanted to deliver. They advocated for bike safety education, and we rose to the occasion. With the pilot, we partnered with city council members who donated 40 bikes. We were able to give every single participant a bike, a helmet, a bike lock, bike water bottles, bells, ring those bells. There we go. And bike lights, because safety is a key. We served 20 fourth graders, and we engaged 15 schools in the Kensington area. We also have 5 schools from the Philadelphia School District, Learning District 9, who are ready to engage with our programming. I remember when I went and talked to some of the administrators, prior to Bike Explorers being built, they were like, can we sign up? And I was like, you gotta wait. So really exciting to see the interest there. Oops, let me go back. Skipped ahead, my bad. Okay. Whoa, what's going on? Okay, here we go. Who we are serving. So, nope, I'm sorry, my bad. go. Okay. Losing myself here. 1 second. So who we're serving, why is cycling education important? Nationally, only 1 in 4 kids learn how to ride a bike each year. That's not just a statistic that represents a shift in childhood experience, mobility, and opportunity. When kids don't learn how to ride, they miss out on physical activity, independence, community connection, and a sense of personal agency. Bike Explorers is what fills that gap. The reality is we need money. Again, we want to make sure that we are helping kids learn how to ride. In Philadelphia, 5 kids under 17 get hit by cars every single week. And after hours is the highest risk for youth violence and victimization after school. So our program addresses all of those needs. We give kids structured, active, skill-building time. They work with coaches who are dedicated and mentors who lead and provide the opportunity for the kids to build confidence through riding bikes. We give families a reason to move together, and we give communities the tools to advocate for safer streets. So this is about safety, it's about mobility, equity, and it's about giving our young people something powerful to say yes to. So with that, we're seeking $295,000. Like Chris said in the video, $45,000 will help us scale vertically at Elkin, offering programs in the spring and in the fall for 75 new riders, and $250,000 to expand to 4 additional neighborhood schools, reaching over 300 students and building staffing needs to sustain the growth. This is a proven, replicable model, and with this investment in Kensington, it becomes our anchor and creates the blueprint for citywide expansion. Bike Explorers is more than a program. It's a mobility movement that starts with our youngest Philadelphians. As interim executive director, one of my priorities is ensuring that the programs not only continue, but grow with intention, alignment, and community partnership. We're ready to scale Bike Explorers, we're ready to empower more families, and we're ready to make Philadelphia the safest city to ride and raise a child. Thank you for being here, and we look forward to partnership with you to bring this vision to life.
That was terrific. Next up, we're going to hear from Jill Fink from the Merchants Fund.
My name is Jill Fink. I have the pleasure of being the executive director of the Merchants Fund. The organization itself was founded in 1854 by Philadelphia merchants to support other merchants during times of financial hardship. The Merchants Fund mission is to catalyze economic mobility for Philadelphia small businesses through capital and coaching. The best way to do that is to connect both the capital, so grants, with coaching. A small business's success is our success, and that success looks different for every small business. Success is also, looking at our role as an intermediary. We work closely with the Commerce Department and help them manage this emergency grant program and distribute funds to businesses, and being able to share what we've learned with others so that we make the whole ecosystem stronger. We have a ton of stories from small businesses who tell us about the impact that we've had.
Our business is simple. What we want to do is bring creators together and give them a space where they can create, network, and earn job opportunities. We're able to take those individuals that come through our studio space and hire them for job opportunities to help other brands and companies. Luckily to TMF, they saved us from getting evicted. They saved us from replacing our cameras. By the grace of God, good for that. And we're still here driving and pushing and even going to the next level from that investment that they put into us.
My name is Celine Wilson. I'm the Deputy Commerce Director for the City of Philadelphia. We are scaling the emergency relief program because businesses are still facing real unexpected challenges. The Merchants Fund process is fast, efficient, and Jill's team is wonderful with communicating what they need to do to receive these funds?
We have a pretty small team. Currently, there's just myself and one other person that are full-time. We have a couple part-time coaches and a part-time director of special projects. To do more, we need more staff. We haven't really been able to grow the size of the grants that we've been making. So, our emergency grants tap out at $20,000, but our stabilization grants, which are the grants that help people to replace broken equipment and things like that, max out at $10,000. Small businesses will always need an organization like the Merchants Fund to step in. It allows us to push boundaries and pursue bold ideas in service of our mission and advancing the vision that we have for the Philadelphia we want to create.
Lon is clearly much taller than me. So CJ Wolf, who was in the video and produced this video, is here tonight. Where is CJ? So there's CJ. So anyone who needs that type of work, please find CJ after this. You can also wish him a happy birthday. So my first job, and I use that term job loosely, was at Natali's Pizza. Natali's, to be clear, was not my favorite pizza, but it was the pizzeria where I could ride my bike. Gave me a sense of agency. It was not nearly as nice as the bikes that you saw in the last video. It was Robin's Egg Blue. It had like the banana seat, right? Because that's how old I am, and like tassels on the handlebars. And it was the pizzeria where Damiano and I had an arrangement. And that arrangement was that I would fold pizza boxes and he would pay me with slices. Now, I would imagine that all of you have a Natali's or a Damiano in your life or in your neighborhood, whether that's where you had your first job, whether it's your neighborhood coffee shop, your neighborhood corner store, someplace that means something to you now and probably in the past. So as you share your attention with me for the next few minutes, I'd like you to think about those small businesses that have shaped your neighborhood, that shape your city, and maybe even have helped to shape who you are today. I think I forgot to, okay, wait. Which one is it? This one? Green? Okay, great. So I'm gonna let the video kind of talk about, already talked about what we do. And what I'd like to take a minute to talk about more specific, is our impact, and more specifically, how our work makes people feel. And this kind of goes to some of the stuff that Dr. Shyamalan was sharing with us. So to paraphrase Maya Angelou, people will forget what you said and what you did, but they will never forget how you made them feel. Our primary intention at the Merchants Fund has always been to support merchants. We've been doing that for nearly 172 years, from keeping their doors open to enabling growth and expansion. But what we've discovered along the way, because our grantees tell us this all the time, is that our grants mean so much more than a new fridge or the ability to make long overdue repairs. And we have a number of grantees in this audience tonight. So if you all could just, maybe not a lot, but there's a few of you here. So if you could just raise your hands, forgot, yeah, Monique over here. There's a couple in the back. And so what's the secret sauce? Well, it's not really a secret. I mean, it's not really a sauce either, but it is what we all want, right? It is to be seen, valued, appreciated. And to demonstrate what this looks like for TMF and for our grantees, I just want to share a couple of quotes very quickly. So Yanor, who's up here from Jakarta Cafe, I will say, so Jakarta Cafe didn't make the recent list of 76 most essential Philly restaurants, but it's on the B list. And there were 10 more that came out after, and they're on that list. So you should still go check them out. Yanor said, this grant gave us hope and made us feel like we're not alone. Another grantee told me, TMF made me feel supported and valued. I truly felt seen as a small business owner, and that meant a lot to me. I'm going to jump ahead, and then I'm going to go back to that one. So Why now? Small businesses have been getting squeezed out of the marketplace for decades, from big box stores that started with Walmart, Target, CVS, to online retailers that are so big I don't have to say their name. So small businesses are really struggling. 30 years ago, in the mid 90s, small businesses employed 60% ish, a little more, of the population, of the working population. Today, that number is now like 45 to 50%. Today, from import taxes and tariffs to inflation and rising costs to immigration raids and labor shortages, merchants are struggling to keep their doors open. When the Trump administration cut off funding for SNAP benefits a couple weeks ago, it wasn't just the millions of food insecure Americans who were impacted. Those cuts ripple beyond food access. They threaten jobs, the ability for stores to stock their shelves, pay their rent, and even keep their doors open. And like with most things, this impact is felt more acutely by small businesses than it is by larger box stores. Thanks to funding from the city's Commerce Department and from the Barra Foundation, TMF is opening an emergency grant program this weekend to support these businesses, and you can read more about that on our website. So far, we have $600,000 and are very excited to be able to start distributing that funding to these businesses. But this also speaks to why the Merchants Fund is so important in this moment. So I'm going to go back. So the reason we're good at what we do is, oh God, okay. The reason the Merchants Fund is good at what we do is because we are nimble, responsive, and we are focused on those that are most often overlooked and underserved. Of our grantees just this year, nearly half of them report household income less than $50,000 a year. They are the working poor, and they are in many of the highest poverty neighborhoods in Philadelphia. 44% of our grantees are immigrants, 63% are women, 84% are people of color. And of that, when only 2% of U.S. small businesses are owned by Black individuals, 29% of TMF grantees identify as Black. So TMF is moving capital and critical support to those who have been left behind, overlooked, and underestimated for far too long. So this is it. And now you have an opportunity to join us in that work. So I want to thank you for being here tonight, for giving me your attention. Before I leave the stage, I have 3 things that I'd like to ask of you. To start, I want you to think back to that small business that's meaningful in your life, your Natali's, right? On behalf of that business, I'd like you to take out your phone, scan this code, and make a donation to the Merchants Fund in their honor. Tomorrow, I would like you to patronize a small business and tell the owner that you appreciate and value them. Genuinely and authentically share with them why they are important to you and your community. And I will tell you that as a former small business owner, and because it's what I hear from the small business owners that we work with so often, it will mean something to them. It will make a difference in their day, and I would venture to guess that it would make you feel pretty good about your day as well. And then finally, I want to challenge you. I want to ask you to then share this challenge with your friends and your family. I want you to spend more of your money locally and at small business, whether that's for the next 72 hours, whether it's through the holiday season, whether it's your New Year's resolution. And look, I am not so naive as to think that none of you are going to buy anything from Amazon, because you will, because those big box stores have squeezed out the little guys. It makes it almost impossible. But what you can do is, if you look when you place those orders, there's a little icon that will say small business. And you can at least choose that business. And it might cost you $1 more, and it might take 2 days longer to get there. But I will tell you that I did this recently. We had to buy some office supplies, and there is no place where I could get them locally, right? I could walk to Staples and be like local, but that money's not staying in my neighborhood, right? And so I ordered from a small business through Amazon, and I got a note with that package. And it said, as a small family business, we appreciate your patronage and support. It means the world to us. So again, I want to thank you for the time. It means the world to me to have been able to share this time with you. I want to thank my fellow presenters and the citizen for this opportunity. Thank you so much.
Okay, last but definitely not least, I'd like to call to the stage after the video plays, Mazzy Kasher from Philly Truce Foundation.
This is Mazzy Kasher at Philly Truce. Our mission is to drive the impact of sustainable Black manhood. But why is this our mission? My co-founder, Stephen Pickens, a 22-year veteran of the fire department, and myself went to high school together in North Philadelphia in the crack era. We saw 500 homicides in 1990. And we remembered that in 2020 as we were ticking up to 500 and thinking about the 15, 16-year-olds of today. And our heart just went out to them. And so we began to get active, most prominently Peace Patrol, which has become our flagship program. We peaked on volunteerism with Operation Hug the Block in 2023, where 680 volunteers and 77 police officers came out 77 nights back to back. And when we measured the data specifically in 44th Police District, which is dominated by Kensington, we saw remarkable reductions, fatal and non-fatal shooting. I believe 64% on one and 62% on the other year over year. So we know this works to get funding, began with private funding from Jefferson, and we began to pay and target justice-impacted men to do this work. We target our blocks with help of the DA's office, and presently we are working on a rotation of 53 blocks. Our calendar is basically first day of spring until Thanksgiving. And what would scaling allow us to do? Right? What would scaling do for Philadelphia? You have to imagine a TSA level of visible deterrence, manned and operated by men who look like these communities.
These men are out addressing quality of life issues.
The bag on the corner, got you.
And talking to residents.
In partnership with the police. This is what we want to scale. And what we need to do that, we need a more deliberate, robust partnership with the police. We need to have some training support even from PPD. And obviously, we need to be able to staff these operations. These operations come with case management, facilitation of workshops, and the like. It would be nice to not have to, at month 2 or even in the middle of this cohort, say, okay, guys, now we need to get you to a real workforce opportunity. We estimate that with $10 million annually, we could staff 24 bases across the city. And we could staff these bases with men who have spent time in these streets, taking and now are ready to give. So we have the qualitative.
I had community members say to us, we know that you being here prevented something.
We have the quantitative. We have all the evidence of this being a viable solution. And that is why our mission is sustainable Black manhood, because we know that when the Black man in Philadelphia rises, the Black community will rise, and this city will rise. You have to remember, we are 39% of the city, and a third of us are living in poverty. Peace Patrol is a psychological and economical remedy to some of that. We hope you will help us prove that. Thank you.
All right, good evening. How are you? Okay, so my name is Mazzy Kasher. I'm the co-founder and executive director at Philly Truce. Thank you to the citizen. Thank you to everybody. I watched all 29 of those videos. Beautiful ideas, great work. Thank you all. And thank you to whoever voted for Philly Truce to be standing up here. Okay, so our mission is simple but powerful. It is to empower African-American men and the communities where they live with tools, resources, and support to achieve sustainable manhood. It is very important. We are tackling systemic inequality, barriers to reentry, and violence head on. And nowhere better is that demonstrated than in our flagship program, Peace Patrol, which is, there you go. Councilmember O'Rourke has been on Peace Patrol. Okay, so the beauty of Peace Patrol is twofold in this service. We serve the men and we prepare them to serve the community, right? So who do we serve? 3 Through Peace Patrol, we serve neighborhoods most impacted by gun violence. We engage men who've been affected by the criminal justice system, and we equip them to promote peace, to rebuild trust, and transform public spaces. Okay, what is needed to scale? That's kind of a big number, bigger than what you've seen from other groups. But I just want to remind you, the police department's budget is $800 million, and they are not crushing it either. All right. So, right now, what we do nightly, Monday through Friday, 6:30 to 10:30, is foot patrol, right? That is what Peace Patrol is. We need to get to 20 bases, right? Right now, we operate most 1 or 2 bases, and they're usually, from here to there, right? That's good for one neighborhood. As you saw, 53 blocks. That means we could use a lot more of this, right? So what do we need to scale? We estimate $10 million annually in operations. We need expanded training. We need greater community input and buy-in. And we need deeper, more robust and established relationships with public safety agencies like PPD, like the Sheriff's Department. We have worked with both. And we need more partnership with public service agencies like SEPTA, for example. We actually yesterday signed an MOU with SEPTA to do a pilot of Peace Patrol throughout the month of December on the subways and the L, so we're looking forward to that. And why is now the time, right? Why does it matter now? Today, as of today, 192 homicides, great for Philadelphia, not great for those families, right? Still historic lows, and this is the opportunity we have right now to lock in a new normal, right? We want to keep pressing the numbers down. We don't want to let this be a trend. We want this to be a norm, and this is the type of program, the type of opportunity that can build on that. Okay. What would scaling mean for Philly? Okay, it doesn't just mean fewer violent incidents. Our patrols not only deter violence, we also have a program built in which is called Lights and Blights. We use Google Earth and we do observations of any instance of blight or an inoperable street light. So blight is an open abandoned house, pothole in the sidewalk, roadkill, trash, tires, stuff that doesn't belong there, blight, right? Addressing these problems obviously improves quality of life improves safety. So I think we have some numbers here. So as of the end of the third quarter, right, we patrolled 300 miles, that's 4,300 blocks. We engaged 13,000 residents, observed 2,600 instances of lights and blight, and then all of that, we only observed 6 conflicts, right? So that is evidence that when Peace Patrol is present, it is a visible deterrent, right? If we don't see nothing happen, that's a deterrent. If you see 6, 7 guys in black vests walking down the block, it's a pleasant disruption once you understand what they're doing. And that alone is visible deterrence, right? So what has been the impact of Peace Patrol? You just saw something in the video called Operation Hug the Block. This was when we peaked on volunteerism. It was 2023. Things were quite a mess, as you might remember. We went out for 77 consecutive nights on the then 77 blocks that had 10 or more shootings on a single block, right? We did that from August 22nd to November 6th, right before the election of our current mayor, so that we could let our incoming mayor know that what the last mayor did was not cool, and we wanted to keep it on their minds. So when we measured the data year over year, 2022 to 2023, and we really focused on Kensington, the 24 police district, 36 of those 77 blocks were in the 24 police district, and the results were remarkable. 64% decrease in non-fatal shootings, 62% decrease in fatal shootings, 100% reduction of shooting victims who are under the age of 18, 83% decrease in the shooting victims between the hours of 10 p.m. and 4 a.m. Thank you. between the hours of 10 p.m. and 4 a.m., which is when we chose to do that, believe it or not. Okay, so we're at the end. So listen, safety is a basic right. It's not a privilege. It's a basic right. And we have proven at Philly Truce that a community-led model works. And now is the time to scale it. So we're going to invite you all to join us in turning this corner and establishing this new norm. You can scan that code to get in touch with us, to donate. But really, we want to have conversations about, we don't want to piecemeal this, right? We know it's 10, 15, $20 million in this room, right? I mean, really. I mean, we're at the link, right? We don't need to piecemeal this, right? We who live with the problem are closest to the solution, and this is pure evidence of it. So please get in touch with Philly Truce, phillytruce.com, 26745-TRUCE. You can scan that code. We'll be around. Again, thank you to the citizen, and congratulations on the acquisition of the Philadelphian, and congratulations to everybody whose video made it up there. We're doing some great work, and hopefully we can work together. Thank you.
So, is this on? So we're gonna, all right, I'll get on the stage. We're gonna ask all three of our presenters to come back up on stage, and we have just a few minutes for questions. Jess is gonna bring a chair up here. And I think we have time for a few questions, right? Can I go this way? So who has questions? Anyone? You guys did a great job. Apparently there's no questions. Oh wait, I see a question. Hi. Say who you are.
Hi, my name is Meredith Ellison. I am a corridor manager in Burytown on West Gerard Avenue. And I'm curious, because we have some council members in the room, in addition to funding, what local policy changes would be helpful for all of your work?
Ooh, good question. I think we should keep the answers very short though, okay?
Hello? Well, okay, so I'll go quickly. So to hire a peace patroller at a family-sustaining wage salary would cost 40% less than it takes to pay a police academy graduate. We have a 1,200 police officer deficit. I would like very much that we consider Peace Patrol as a supplementary public safety service.
Yeah, hello. Awesome. This mic says it's on, but it's not, apparently. Concrete. We want safe bike trails and bike lanes for all cyclists. And I think speed camera enforcement across the city is is something that we're continuously advocating for, but we need concrete.
It's on, and then it goes off. Okay. Hi. It's a good thing that we're not AV techs. Like, we're all good at what we do. Figuring the mics out is maybe not one of them. So the city has been a great partner to the Merchants Fund and using us to administer grants with the Commerce Department. But I think really the impact of, and this is going to get wonky and I'm not going to go into it, but the elimination of the $100,000 exemption on the BERT tax for small businesses is really going to be like, is going to be very, very, very detrimental. And I think finding a policy solution that helps us to get around the uniformity clause at the state level should be a real priority for this administration and council.
It's great. Those are all great answers. Anybody else have a question? Oh, look, how convenient.
My name is Ethan, and this question is actually for Jill from the Merchants Fund. Could you share with us a little more about the impact that occurs after the initial investment of funding, either the emergency grant or the stabilization grant that you provide?
Ethan is a TMF grantee, so he could actually probably answer that question himself. But for the benefit of others in the room, so the Merchants Fund kind of thinks of you can give someone a grant, but really it's about what comes after that, and so we really look at every opportunity. Um, when we make a grant to engage and sort of like welcome folks into the family. And so Ethan got a grant from the Merchants Fund, I don't even know how many years ago, probably 8 or 9 years ago at least. And we still talk all the time. And he calls and lets me know about things that he's found out that we can share with other grantees. So really, our most successful grants are not just the grant itself, it's the relationship that is built so that if a business owner is moving, then we're like, hey, let us look at that lease for you, right? Like we can help you to avoid problems. We can work with you before you go in and sign a lease. So really, it's that longer term coaching engagement that we're really looking for. Thanks, Ethan.
Somebody over here raised their hand. Who was it? You, right? Okay.
Hi, Carla from Ocean Family Center. This is more of a statement for Philly Truth Foundation. I'm a North Philly girl. I grew up on American and Westmoreland. So when you spoke about being in the neighborhood in 2023, I personally felt the impact. My mom's definitely felt the impact. So thank you for all the work that you do. Um, oh, nada. Also, shameless plug. Ocean Family Center has a fatherhood initiative, and we would love to connect and see how we can work with our dads in the neighborhood.
Absolutely.
Great. I think I saw a hand over here. Hold on, I'm coming. Can you raise your hand again? Because I've lost you now. Oh, there you are.
Hi, my name is Sanaye Mohammed. I'm with Episcopal Community Services. Um, for the Sustainable Black Manhood, can you help me understand what principles of manhood are important to your organization to lift up and amplify?
Absolutely. And I'm not going to remember them like I remembered a lot of this other stuff, but if you go to phillytruths.com, it is there. But it's stuff like zero involvement with the criminal justice system or the family court system or dependence on welfare, uh, pursuit of useful education, personally, familially, culturally, on and on and on. But if you could go to phillytruths.com, that would help my brain a lot right now.
I think we have time for one or two more questions. I'm going to have you guys ask questions until Jess tells me to stop. There's a question over here.
Yes. Thank you. For the Small Merchant Fund, ideally, what type of policy at the state, federal, or even local level would you like to see to help consumers be incentivized to buy locally again?
It's a really great question. And to just in full transparency, like we haven't really done a lot of policy work. This is the first year that we've really started moving into talking to elected officials and thinking about how things could happen at a policy level. And mostly, we feel like we've been really like working downstream and sort of catching those businesses who are really struggling, like either in an emergency or really need something that helps them to just stabilize the business and survive. And so in the last year, we've started thinking about how do we move further upstream and work with policymakers to think about what some of those things should be. I know that there are other cities that have created programs that help people to incentivize individuals to buy at local businesses. I think most of those have happened on like in a smaller scale, right? Like smaller cities than Philadelphia. And so thinking about how we would scale something like that would take some work to think about. Um, but I also just think that we all buy stuff every day, right? Like that is what we do. And we all have agency and choices in where we spend our money. And so I mean, I would say like think about like the incentive of like keeping your favorite taco shop or dry cleaner or barber shop, whatever it might be, that all of those businesses are under threat.
Okay, I was given the signal. You didn't see it, but Jess gave me the signal. Thank you all so much. Thank you all so much for all the work you do, for watching all 29 videos. Yeah, it's great. So this has been a really exciting event. I'm so pleased that we did this, and I really hope that we can do it again next year. In the meantime, so those of you you guys have 3 paths for leaving this place. If you are going to Whiskey Fest, you can go. Okay, I'm going to send everybody in that direction, and Corey will tell you where to go. So if you're going to Whiskey Fest, you can follow Corey in the white shirt over there, and she will take you there. If you you wanted to get a tour of the link, just hang out for a little bit. The tour guide is on his way back here. And if you are done with us for the night, have a great evening. Sleep well. We'll see you tomorrow. Thank you.